before, but it's worth saying again. This season of Pretty Little Liars is just phenomenal to me. There's so much stuff going on and I'm loving like every second of it. Hey guys, and welcome back to Kellie TV. So a lot of stuff happening in this episode, which has been pretty much happening this whole season. So much stuff, and I absolutely love it. So we start off with Allie being questioned by police, and she thought it was going to be about trying to figure out who killed her mother, but it turns out they're questioning her about Shauna. Obviously the police, like we already know, aren't really buying her whole story here, so there's that. Well, they were rehearsing for, I guess, like a Christmas song. Was that a Christmas song? So maybe they're gearing up for some holiday episodes. I think I saw some of that on Instagram, actually. And somebody, A, wrote some sinister notes on the sheet music. It says, "Glad to hear you singing. Last time you were all choked up," and this was directed toward Allie. So A is still in full effect in this episode. Well, Hannah is just coming undone. I mean, she's kind of lost her mind since Allie has been back. She's dressing really sloppy and a beer can falls out of her locker. She thinks maybe Caleb is to blame for that, but honestly, I think this is A because A wants to make her look really bad. Or maybe it's somebody else, like the small A faction, but I don't think it was him. I just think that, I really think it's A trying to make her look bad, trying to pull her away from the other girls. So Aria's mom makes an appearance in this episode. She wants Aria to be the maid of honor, and she says that that's cool with her. Meanwhile, Emily is talking to Sydney, trying to tell her that Hannah was drunk when she was babbling on about New York, and Sydney lies, and she's like, "What? Hannah never mentioned New York." So she's starting to show her true colors here. And she also says that she wants Emily to be the assistant coach of the swim team, which is news to Em. So Spencer is talking to Toby, and she's wondering if it was Bethany that pushed Toby's mom off of the roof of Radley. They're trying to figure all this out, and Toby's like, "I'm just so tired of this crooked town, and I'm going to be a police officer," which was kind of strange, and Spencer was like laughing at him. She's like, what? And I thought that was kind of weird too. So we'll see if this actually pans out. Could be interesting. Aria is back at Radley, and she's trying to find out where Eddie is, and someone tells her that Eddie's actually no longer working there, but she doesn't say what's up with that. I'm still going to go with what I said in the last episode and say that Eddie is dead. I think that someone took care of him because he was kind of finding out things he wasn't supposed to. And Big Rhonda finds Aria trying to put Bethany's book back under her bed, so she's going to have to pay for that in just a little bit. Allie wants to stay with Hannah's family, and Hannah is not cool with that, but Mrs. Marin is all like, "Yeah, I think that's a great idea." And she totally buys Allie's story, and she's feeling sorry for her, and I don't know why, but whatever. So Rhonda, after she is paid in root beer and some like hot cheesy fries, she tells Aria that a rich lady gave Bethany gifts, took her to the circus, and actually took her to see a horse quite often at some stables nearby. And this got me thinking about an episode maybe a couple seasons ago when Allie's mom had like all those clothes in Allie's old room, and she didn't know that Allie was alive, so possibly these clothes were for Bethany. I'm still thinking this makes it look like Bethany is her daughter, but we don't know that for sure yet. We don't know. That may not be the case. Caleb and Hannah are just kind of weird this season, and I've always liked Caleb, but why is he like super bad boy now, bad influence? They're all about that alcohol life, drinking in the car and all that stuff when they're underage. I don't really get why he's like a super bad boy now. So Sydney randomly shows up at Em's house, and she's trying to still get her to be the assistant swim coach, and there's obviously some sort of motive for that. Feel free to tell me down below what your thoughts are. And she mentions the boyfriend just briefly, but I caught on to that. She's like, "My boyfriend's in college." I'm wondering if she's like Noel's girlfriend, or there's, you know, she's probably Jason's girlfriend. I don't know. It's probably someone or that we know. That's what I was thinking. And then Sydney majorly slips up when she says her dad owns some yogurt shops and he has some in New York, and maybe Emily saw it when she was there, and Emily's like, no, I never said I was there. So now she's admitting that she lied before. Hopefully Emily is catching on to these clues and realizing that, hello, you cannot trust Sydney. So what about Zach in this episode? Just kind of a minor character that no one's ever really cared about. Zach is Aria's mother's fiance. Didn't ever care about him before. Of course, he works at the coffee shop. and Hannah comes in and she's kind of intoxicated. She's trying to buy a sandwich, and he has his hand all over her back. He's really creepy. He's definitely like hitting on her. Such a creepy dude in this episode. Gross. And Caleb is still really encouraging her bad behavior, which I'm not a fan of. Stop it, Caleb, because she has enough issues without you helping her. So this makes her come to school looking crazy. She looks like a hot mess. She's got like Rice Krispie treat in her hair, and she's just looking totally insane in front of her friends, which is exactly what A wants. And she feels really bad because she thinks maybe she needs to tell Aria about Zach, but she tells the girls and they think she's nuts, which is sad. So Alison is telling Hannah's mom that someone was trying to break in and she couldn't sleep the night before. And I'm sitting here like, whatever, I totally don't believe your story. And we find out later that we shouldn't be believing it. Emily and Spencer are trying to get to the bottom of this Bethany and her horse mystery. So they go to the stables and they're trying to figure out if it was Mrs. D who was there with Bethany. And it seems to me like Alison is trying to take Hannah's place, like she wants to have Mrs. Marin as her mom, and it's just really weird to me. Did any of you get that vibe? Because I totally did. So back at the stables, the guy says that this weird girl, who's possibly Bethany, had some sort of meltdown when she was with an adult woman and she threw a bucket at her. So obviously it sounds like someone with some mental issues, possibly, or maybe the woman did something really evil and deserved the bucket thrown at her. You have to look at both sides here. Zach is back and being creepy, jumps in the car randomly with Hannah, writes his number down. It was really weird for me to see him act this way because I've never seen him be so creepy. None of us have. I'm not sure where they're going with this. I don't know if he's being like paid by A to do it or blackmailed. It just seems kind of out of the blue and strange. Well, whatever though. So someone actually does break in and they have a knife while Hannah is staying, or while Allie is staying with Hannah's mom. And that's a pretty scary moment. And Allie immediately says, you know, I know this was a guy. And the police are like, well, how do you know that this was a guy? Which is a really good question. So near the end of the episode, Hannah is telling Aria, finally, that Zach hit on her and wanted to hook up with her. And Aria like freaks out and she's like, it's all you. I mean, you were the one coming on to him. And it's just really sad because I like Hannah. I'm feeling bad for her because she's like falling apart. Obviously because A wants her to this season. And then at the stables, Spencer and Melissa find a helmet with, or Spencer and Emily find a helmet with Melissa's initials, which honestly I think this was planted there by A. I really don't know if she'd been there before. It just seems a little too obvious. But they're not the only ones in these stables. A is also there. He like locks them in where this horse is. This horse starts freaking out because there's a storm. They do get out, but like barely. It is really scary. Have you noticed this about Zach? Because honestly, since he bugs me so much in this episode, I just have to hate on him. Why is he trying to look like a teenager with his flannel shirt and all this stuff? I was just like, oh, WTF. I mean, I know that he's younger than Aria's mom, but he's such a creep that I just wanted to hate on his wardrobe. So let me carry on. So Allie is going to pack up and go on the run again, I guess. And she kind of drops a bombshell here because she says that the person who broke into Mrs. Marin's house was Noel Kahn, that she asked him to do it so that, you know, people would believe she was actually in danger. Here we go again with her being super shady, and, you know, the girls, I guess, are starting to slowly catch on to this. And I started thinking about this. They are trying so hard to make Allie look shady that now I'm kind of wondering if they're going to go with this Allie is evil or Allie has an evil twin. Because in this show, anyone that they always point out as the evil person, it's not them, it's someone else that they're trying to hide that is evil. So we really need to be looking at who we totally trust. And that's why I really like my subscriber of the week. Before we get to her, it ends the show with A being, it looks like he's in Spencer's room and is touching like the hat of Melissa's, and he's in some sort of compartment, like hidden compartment in the floor, and I wasn't really sure, and I watched this twice. I'm not really sure what he's doing here. Do you guys know, or what he or she is doing? So let me know your thoughts on that down below. So my subscriber of the week is Cool Kitty 1234, and the reason that this subscriber was awesome and had a great theory is because they think that Aria is A, which I would think would be awesome if the show made this happen. And one of the big clues they say is that she was in Radley and Eddie Lamb recognized her. Now, I told you guys that I thought it was because she'd been there to see Spencer, but we've actually never seen that in an episode, so that's kind of what we can assume. But some people think that she has the multiple personality disorder. Maybe she doesn't remember when she's doing evil things. So I think that would be awesome because we've never been given a reason to think that Aria is evil or to suspect her. There's no things pointing to her being like, ooh, Aria is shady, ooh, Aria is evil. So I would freaking love that. So I hope that Aria is A. But thank you, Cool Kitty 1234. I loved your theories this week. And thank you to everyone who left theories. Remember, I choose a subscriber of the week every single week, and it's always going to be a new person. So I really appreciate all your awesome comments. And there's so much that I have questions about from this episode and from all seasons, so please leave your questions, your thoughts down below, because I will try and respond to everyone. I absolutely love doing that all week long. So thank you so much again for watching this episode of Kellie TV, and I will see you next time.